Hi, Chad here with Purple Collar Leaf. It's an absolutely amazing spring day out today, which means I'm ready to get out riding on the XT250. So before I start riding this summer, it's always a good idea to check everything over and change the oil. So let me talk to you about the tools you'll need, and then we'll go step by step through the process of changing the oil in this XT250. So the first thing you want is the oil. I use the Yamalube 10W40 oil that's recommended in this XT250. Just to note that this is the same oil recommended in the WR250R. Now this is a 2015 model, so everything I'm talking about is relevant to this model, but it just so happens I also had a 2015 WR250R. It uses the same oil. Both the WR250R and the XT250 use the same oil filter. This is a K&N KN-140, and this is the only filter I've ever used in this bike. Tools you'll need, I recommend a small torque wrench, a number 5 Allen key, which is used to remove the filter, a 12mm socket, which is used to remove the drain plug, and a 14mm socket, which is used to refill the oil. So the first thing we're going to do is start draining that oil. Now I ran this just a little bit so that oil would be loosened up and free in there, a little bit more flowing than if it were just cold. So I'll pull that drain plug and then the oil will start draining out. It doesn't take very long, there's not a lot in there. I wanted to show you, I do put a board under the kickstand just to level the bike out a little bit. Now obviously you wouldn't want to lift this side up too much because it could tip over, but enough to level it out just so that the oil drains a little bit easier and you can see the level of the oil when you're refilling it. Step number 1 is removing the drain plug. So if you come straight down from the engine, underneath, you can see that drain plug right here. And like I said, that's a 12mm plug. You want to make sure you slide your drain pan underneath there. You can see that oil still looks pretty clean. We didn't put a lot of miles on this last year, but the oil has been in there for a year, so it's always a good idea to change it out every year. And after the oil has all drained out, go ahead and put the plug back in. We'll tighten that up. That should be good. Step 2 is removing the oil filter cover to pull that filter out. And as we pull it out, we'll note the orientation. And again, that uses the number 5 Allen key. Once you loosen those up, you can usually just twist them by hand. The 2 shorter bolts are from the left-hand side. The longer bolt is from the right, and you can see it's a good idea to have that pan right lined up. And I've always had the filter come out right with it. And then you can see, before we take it off, we'll note the orientation. It's got 2 rubber seals. One side is sealed, one side's open. The open side goes down. So we're just gonna pull this off. Set it aside. Put the new one on with the open side down. Line this back up. We'll start those bolts back in. So I just lightly tighten these at first, a little bit at a time, because you want to make sure that gets on square until I just feel resistance. And then that's actually the reason I bought this torque wrench, because these bolts you torque to 7 pounds, and it'd be really easy to over tighten those. So I just want to set us at 7 pounds. We'll lock that in place. And there we're torqued at 7 pounds on each of these bolts. Now I did get some dripping here, so I'm just going to wipe that off the engine. And now we're ready to refill with oil. So that's the next step. We're going to remove the oil fill plug. It's a 14mm socket. Now to refill, I said I used the Yamalube 10W40. It takes 1.3 liters, 1.37 quarts. And I like this flexible fill because it allows me to tip this and fill and watch the fill point at the same time, so that I can see when the oil gets down in there. Every once in a while I just tip it up so it's a little bit more level, but so far I'm not even seeing the oil yet, so we can put some more in. There, I'm seeing some oil, so I'll tip it back, let that drain down in. This little sight glass is what we're looking at. It's got a low and a high level, and when the bike is level, you want the oil to be in between those two marks, which you can see we are. We're perfect when the bike is level, so we'll stop there. And the next step is just to replace that cap onto the oil fill. Now we're gonna go ahead and start the bike up, let that oil pump through, fill around the filter, and I think we'll probably have to add a little bit more. We're at 913 miles. Now I'm going to tip this and recheck that level. Yeah, so since the oil has now gone into the filter, we're going to add just a little bit more so that we're back between those two lines. I'll put Amazon affiliate links down below to the K&N KN-140 filter, this Yamalube 10W40, this nice fill tube, so there you go. Easy oil change on the Yamaha XT250. Like I said, this is a 2015, but that's an easy procedure. And also the 2015 WR250R, almost the exact same procedure. Uses the same oil, uses the same filter. It's just as easy as this one. I do recommend using a good torque wrench in the instruction manual, and always refer to the manual that came with your particular equipment, but it does tell you the torque ratings for those bolts on the filter compartment, the drain plug, and the fill plug. Thanks for watching. If you like videos like this, make sure you give it a like, a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and we'll see you again the next time. If you haven't already, be sure you check out our other XT250 ride videos on the channel. Give those a thumbs up as well. Thanks.